Today's episode is for parents. Welcome to the Mental Weight Room, where we train the brain just like we train the body. I'm your host and mental performance coach, Antoinette Datoc. If you spent any amount of time around youth sports, you've probably seen parents who seem confused about their role. Some act like assistant coaches, some act like agents, some act like talent scouts, some act like emotional support animals, and some are trying so hard to help their child succeed that they accidentally become an obstacle to the very growth they're hoping to encourage. Today, I want to talk about what I believe is the most important question every sports parent should ask. What is my role? Because if we get the answer to that question wrong, we can unintentionally undermine our child's development. But if we get it right, we can help them become not only better athletes, but better human beings. Before we talk about sports, let's zoom out a little bit. I believe every human being shares the same essential purpose: to become the best version of ourselves. And because we live in relationship with other people, we also have a responsibility to help those around us become the best versions of themselves, especially our children. Notice I didn't say our purpose is to become rich or famous or successful or even happy. Those things may or may not happen. Our purpose is growth, development, virtue, character, becoming who we're capable of becoming, who we're meant to be. And as parents, we are temporary stewards of another human being's development. Our children don't belong to us. They've been entrusted to us. Our job is not to create a perfect athlete. Our job is to help develop a capable, resilient, responsible young person who can eventually thrive without us. Sports are simply one of the classrooms where that development takes place. Have you ever wondered why people are so drawn to sports? Why we willingly spend hours practicing, competing, coaching, driving our kids to games, or even sitting in the stands watching complete strangers play? I think it's because sports mirror life itself. Sports place us in situations that challenge us physically, mentally, and emotionally. They invite us to confront obstacles, overcome setbacks, develop new skills, and discover what we're truly capable of becoming. As athletes, we love participating because sports gives us an opportunity to test ourselves, to stretch beyond our comfort zones and pursue excellence. As spectators, we love watching because we recognize something deeply human unfolding before us. Beneath every game, match, race, or competition is a universal story, the story of growth. It's the story of people striving to improve, pushing beyond their perceived limits, responding to adversity, and pursuing their potential. That's why sports matter. They're about much more than scores, ranking, trophies, or championships. Sports provide a unique arena in which human beings can practice becoming better versions of themselves. And perhaps that's why sports resonate so deeply with us. They remind us of the lifelong challenge we all share of growing, learning, and becoming the people we were created to be. And if you believe that's true, as much as I do, then youth sports aren't primarily about producing better athletes. They're about developing better people. Now I want to touch on a problem I often see when I'm doing mental performance training with athletes. Many parents unknowingly make athletic success the goal, and that trickles down. Playing time becomes the goal, scholarships become the goal, making varsity becomes the goal, winning becomes the goal, getting recruited becomes the goal. And when those become the goals, something subtle happens. The child, the athlete, becomes a project to manage instead of a person to develop. And when that happens, the focus shifts from long-term growth to short-term outcomes. Parents begin solving problems their athletes should solve, managing emotions their athletes should learn to manage, fighting battles their athletes should learn to fight, taking ownership of situations that belong to the athlete. The result? The athlete may become more dependent rather than more capable. And that's exactly the opposite of what parenting is supposed to accomplish. Imagine your child is age 30. Not 17, not 15, not 12, 30. What kind of person do you hope they become? Responsible, hardworking, resilient, confident, honest, self-disciplined, able to handle disappointment, able to take ownership, able to persist through adversity. If those are the qualities you want, then youth sports can be one of the greatest developmental tools available. But only if parents remember that character development matters more than the stats. Growth matters more than trophies. Ownership matters more than outcomes. So what exactly is your role? I think there are 5. First, provide opportunities. You provide access, you drive, you pay fees, you buy equipment, you create opportunities. Second, provide support. Support does not mean removing every obstacle. Support means being present, listening, really listening, encouraging, believing in them. Third, teach values. Things like effort, respect, integrity, accountability. Sports becomes a laboratory where those values are practiced. Fourth, maintain perspective. One game is not a career. One season is not a future. One coach is not a destiny. Children need parents who provide perspective when emotions run high. And finally, fifth, gradually transfer responsibility. As your child matures, more responsibility should move from parent to athlete. Their goals, their preparation, their communication, recovery, their ownership. Because the goal isn't dependence, the goal is independence. Now let's talk about what isn't your job. It is not your job to want success more than your athlete does. It is not your job to constantly critique performance. It is not your job to rescue them from every disappointment. It is not your job to fight all their battle. It is not your job to carry their motivation. It is not your job to live through their accomplishments. And perhaps most important of all, it is not your job to protect them from struggling. Struggling is often where growth happens. Confidence is built through overcoming difficulty. Resilience is built through adversity. Responsibility is built through ownership. When we remove every challenge, we also remove every opportunity for growth. Now let's talk about the most dangerous 15 minutes in youth sports, the car ride home. Many parents use that car ride to conduct a post-game analysis. What did you see? Why didn't you do this? What happened there? You should have ... Next time you need to ... And what often begins as an attempt to help becomes a lecture. Here's a challenge. Say less. Listen more. Try asking, what did you learn today? What did you do well? What do you want to improve next time? Help them become reflective rather than dependent on your evaluation. Whenever you're uncertain how to respond as a sports parent, ask yourself 2 questions. Number 1, will this help my child become the best version of himself or herself? Not, will this help them win? Will this help them make the team? Will this help them get recruited? But there's a second question that may be even more important. And that second question is, am I bringing the best version of myself to this situation? Because whether we realize it or not, our children are always watching. They're watching how we respond to disappointment. They're watching how we respond to adversity. They're watching how we handle frustration. They're watching how we treat coaches, teammates, other parents, officials, competitors. They're watching how we manage our emotions when things don't go our way. In many ways, the most powerful lesson your child will learn from sports won't come from a coach or a practice or a game. It will come from watching you. The reality is that youth sports provide an incredible opportunity, not only for our children to grow, but for us to grow. And every game, every setback, every triumph, every frustrating situation, and every difficult conversation presents us as parents with an opportunity to grow alongside our children. So here's my challenge for you. Before reacting to a situation, pause and ask, am I showing up as the kind of person I hope my child becomes? Because helping our children become the best version of themselves begins with our commitment to becoming the best version of ourselves. Very few young athletes will become professional athletes. Many won't play beyond high school. Even fewer will earn scholarships to college, but every single one of them will become adults. That's the game that matters most. The scoreboard eventually disappears, the trophies collect dust, statistics are forgotten, but the character they build, the habits they develop, and the lessons they learn can serve them for the rest of their lives. As parents, our role isn't to create a great athlete, it's to raise a great person. And at the end of the day, the person our child becomes matters far more than any score, ranking, trophy, or scholarship. Thanks for tuning into the Mental Weight Room. If you found today's episode helpful, click like, drop a comment, share it with another sports parent, coach, or athlete, and don't forget to subscribe or follow the Mental Weight Room podcast on Instagram and Facebook so you never miss a mental workout. This is Coach Antoinette signing off. And until next time, keep training your brain like you train your body and keep pushing your limits.